Hey, what's up, you guys? Church of Darkness right here. I'm sorry about how I had to leave last time. Well, I didn't leave. The camera died. The battery died. And I had some family members come over, and so they're gone now, as you can see over here. So I'm going to get back to the video. But before we go on to the tarot cards, I was speaking about, in the last couple of videos, I was speaking about a werewolf, lycanthropy. The subject of man turning into animal. That's what lycanthropy means. It means man animal. Because the name werewolf is actually Greek. The, the, the word were comes from the Greek word of man. So when we say a werewolf, we're saying man wolf. Now, this book, as I mentioned, the Ed and Lorraine Warren situation with a man named Ramsey, who claimed that he was demonically possessed and he was acting like a wolf. Now, you can write it off as mental illness if you want to. I don't, because I believe in the paranormal, and I believe in ghosts, and I believe in demons, and demons can infect us. We just have to be strong. Now, the book in question I have right here in my hand is called Werewolf. This is a really fascinating book by Ed and Lorraine, and it talks about their struggle dealing with this man. But I want to read you guys from a couple pages here that I find fascinating. Consider the werewolf. He is quite different from any other supernatural or preternatural being of legend and myth, any monster born in the imaginations of writers and filmmakers. He is not a creature fashioned of human parts and brought to life in a madman's laboratory. He is not a member of the undead, a zombie resurrected by magic, or of a voodoo priestess, nor the mummy of an Egyptian king kept alive for centuries by sorcery and tana leaves, nor a vampire who must drink love in order to maintain his unnatural life, who can change himself at will into a bat, who must sleep during the day because exposure to sunlight will cause him to shrink and perish. He does not have an evil power of a witch or a warlock, or one of Satan's demons. He is not a thing that flies or crawls or scuts, not a rodent or an insect mutated into a monstrous deadly size. He is just a man, a woman, a mortal being who is cursed. Bill Pernozzi, the werewolf. Now there's some pictures here. Bishop McKenna, who the Warrens went to, always performed, the exorcisms throughout their career as paranormal investigators. Now, these are really fascinating pictures. Now, the one where my pinky finger's at, you can see the man becoming, going into one of his fits as the bishop's given the rites. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I'll read this real quick. I just had it. Okay, Interlude. The Werewolf Among Us. Both Sabine Baring Gold and Maguire Summons offer numerous accounts of lycanthropy throughout history. Perhaps the most famous, the most obscene, in these cases recounted by Baring Gold in his book of Werewolves, is that Giles de Laval, the Marchazat de Ride, is French. I'm sorry if I'm terribly mispronouncing it. Laval, one of the most powerful noblemen in France, was brought to trial in 1440 to answer charges that he was responsible for a disappearance and death of a sorceress, sources of beggar and peasant children. Terrible atrocities involving these children were said to have been performed in the castle of Matsukura. I don't know how to pronounce French. A gloomy fortress composed of massive towers and surrounded by deep moats. Peasants spoke of nights when a fierce red glare irritated encasement high up isolated tower, with the sharp cries ringing out into it, through the hushed words only to be answered by the howl of a wolf as it rose from its lair. During Levi's trial, the testimony of two of those servants revealed that the charges were true. He had murdered not scores, but hundreds upon hundreds of children in an 8-year period. by beheading, strangulation, mutilation, and other hideous means, and experience intense pleasure in their agonies. Lavelle stated his confusion and often bathed in their blood. He was convicted, confession, sorry, not confusion. He was convicted and sent to the gallows, a rather pale end for one of the most depraved of all human monsters. Baring-Gould's description of Lavelle at the trial is significant. His hair and mustache were light brown, and his beard was clipped to a point. The beard, which resembled no other beard, was black, but other certain lights. It assumed a blue hale, and it has been particularly which obtained the Sire de Réance, and subnamed of Blue Bread, a name that was attached to him in popular romance, but on other examination of the countenance of Gales de Laval, concentration of the muscles of the face, nervous quivering of the mouth, spasmodic twitchings and other brows, and above all, the sinister expression of his eyes showed that there was something strange and frightful in the man. The inevitables, he groaned, his teeth like a wild beast preparing to dust upon his prey. See, throughout history we hear stories of ghosts and hauntings and possessions, and they can't all be just rumors and myths. They all can't just be that. You can't write all that off as, simply as, pre-scientific mumbo jumbo or religious mumbo jumbo or even just superstition. There's always, like I said, always truth in some kind of myth. I was looking through the book here, but there's nothing really here I want to read. But anyways, now we got that covered, you guys know where I'm coming from with this. But anyway, so let's move on to the cards now. Let me just get them real quick. Okay. So the Edgar Allan Poe cards. So here's what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna move on from these cards, and I'm gonna not move on. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'm tired. No, we're not gonna move on from the cards. I'm actually gonna show you guys how to do them. If I could just move this down a little bit. Let's see if I can